Hi, everyone. It's so good to have you here with us today. So excited. So we have a wonderful talk that we're going to be doing tonight. We're going to be doing some education around ketamine and how that has been introduced into the healing world and all of the amazing things that it and some other types of psychedelic plants are actually helping people. But our main focus tonight is going to be on ketamine. Thank you again so much for being here. We love being able to educate. We love being able to teach you what we know that is able to actually make a difference in your life and helping you with your healing and helping you to overcome your dis-ease, your disease, your illnesses, your conditions, your diagnosis, your symptoms, whatever it is. This is what drives us to get up every day and keep doing what we do here at Modern Holistic Health. So again, thank you so much for being here. So let's start out with a couple of housekeeping things as we usually do. First of all, raise your hand. There's a little hand at the bottom, by the way, a little hand. Raise your hand if you're currently working with us. Raise your hand if you're working with us. Yes, keep raising. I know we have a lot of you that join these who are in our inner circle who are working with us. Yes, okay, perfect. Go ahead and take your hands down. I'll help you. There you go. Most of you got it down. I'll take the rest down. Now, for those of you, how many of you, this is you're not working with us, and this is your first time joining our inner circle call? Raise your hand. There's a little hand down at the bottom. Okay. Perfect. We're going to ask a couple of other questions. I like to get interactive here. How many of you are not working with us, but you're following us and you've already been to our other inner circles, some of our other ones? Raise your hands. You've already been to some of our other inner circles and you're like hanging out with us. We love having you coming back. We love having you learning. Perfect. I'm so excited. Perfect. Jump in and say hello and where you're from. We already had a few that jumped in to say hi. So I'm so glad that you did. And I recognize a lot of your names. So thank you for jumping in and saying hello. So we're going to go ahead and we are going to get started with this presentation tonight. It's 6:03, so I think we've given people enough time to jump in. I know we always have some people who end up joining late, but that's okay because we will send out a replay as long as you have registered. So let's go ahead and let me go into the screen share here really quick. And team, my lovely team, if someone can just let me know if y'all are seeing the screen, or anyone can tell me. I know last time somebody who was watching let me know before my team was able to let me know that I was sharing the wrong screen. So if you just let me know if you guys see the screen. Yes?
It looks good. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Because once I'm sharing, I can't see everything. And I have all these things up all over my screen. And it's a lot. It's a lot. Okay. Especially for somebody like me who has, I've learned how to use tech. I'm not naturally a tech person. I'm in my 50s. And I did not grow up with tech. And, but in order for us to help as many people as we can, I shut my brick and mortar down, left the doctor-patient model, which I know is broken anyway, and went into this educational model. And in the process of doing it, I had to come to terms with the fact that I was going to have to get better at and be open and accepting to learning tech. And I'm still not an expert at it, but thank God I have people like you, Shalon, who can help me when I need it. And my husband, Greg. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's get started. Tonight's call is going to be about ketamine-assisted neurological repatterning. This is a methodology that we have coined and we have come up with, and we're very excited to share it with you. So, how does healing really happen? Does it happen from a pill? I think a lot of us know that that's not the case. The pill for an ill approach just doesn't work the majority of the time. It's great as a life vest. It's great to help us, for emergencies. It really can keep us alive, but there is no pill, nor is there any one gadget out there yet that can fix all of our health issues. There just isn't. If there was, I would be telling you about it, screaming from the top of the mountains. I found a pill. I found a gadget. I found something that will take care of it. And there isn't. So where does that leave us? Where do we get our healing from? Coming from a traditional science model, which is the Newtonian model of science. I've always believed that we have to find the root cause of everything. And I always believed until about a decade ago that all of these root causes were tangible items. They were things that you could see, even if it was under a microscope, right? But they were things that carried mass of some sort, right? So like a heavy metal or a chemical toxin or a parasite or a protozoa or something like that, right? I always believed that it was that. And about 10, 15 years ago, I got sick to the point where I almost died. In fact, hold on just a second. I forgot to record. So hold on just a second and let me go into record mode. Hold on. Let's see if I can get that back up. And I don't know how to do it without unsharing my screen. Hold on a second, guys. Let me go back to share screen. Here we go. Try it again. Told you about the tech stuff. Backing up really quick. Welcome to our talk on ketamine-assisted neurological repatterning. This is a term that we have coined using our very, very unique and expertly curated approaches that we have. And this is where we had just left off. Looking at root causes, I discovered after almost dying about a little over a decade ago now that yes, we have to look at those physical root causes, those tangible root causes, and they can and do make us sick. And the cool thing now is that we have the technology to test for these things. We can find them. I just got off the call with an amazing, beautiful angel, a human. Maybe she's an angel, but she looks human. And we found a lot of root issues directly related to the things that she's got going on. But I spent some time talking to her about some of the things I'm getting ready to share with you, and that is that there are a lot of intangible things that come in the forms of unprocessed emotions, a generational trauma that has changed the expression of your DNA that gets passed down generation after generation after generation. Unprocessed trauma. And if you are human and if you have lived a human experience, you have trauma, whether you realize it or not. It doesn't have to be something big like being assaulted, for example. But these are all root causes that can lead us into disease and not allow us to heal. And many people don't even know that. And so what is the approach that we take? We truly address the entire person. Mind, body, spirit. We're looking at everything. Because if we don't, we're never going to find all the root causes. And at the end of the day, people are not going to get the outcomes that they're looking for. And so where I started in practice many years ago with the traditional, all the traditional more ways of doing things, I have now realized, as you know, God is my witness for this, he was the one who downloaded all the information to help me to be able to help you where I am today, where all of our coaches are today, is that we have to address the whole person, mind, body, and spirit. And if we don't do that, we're not teaching you everything that you need to learn to take your sovereignty back and get your health back in your mind, in your body, and in your spirit. And so it is well established across most medical disciplines now that whether traditional medical or holistic paradigms, that trauma and emotions, our beliefs, the programming that we start getting from the time of birth, it can and does increase the incidence of serious health conditions and disease, not just in adults, but in children also. And your healing is ultimately always going to come from inside of you, which means that we have to start making a change to realize how valuable we are. How valuable we are. We have been programmed to sacrifice everything for everybody else. And we always put ourselves last, and look at where that's gotten us. Look at where that's gotten us. You need to put you first so that you can fill your cup and then be able to give. And our model is one that empowers you by giving you the keys so that you can drive the car. We're going to teach you how to drive the car, and we're going to give you the keys. We're not going to hold it from you or withhold these powerful healing tools and techniques from the labs, understanding your labs, from understanding how to release the trauma and all of these things. We're not going to hold those keys and make you have to be a lifetime client or a lifetime patient of ours. We are teaching you how to do this so that you can take your sovereignty back. Your healing ultimately comes from inside of you. Now, let's get into some of the fun stuff. I want to show you some research. And this is some of the same research. If you haven't seen my Mastering Trauma Masterclass, it's a beautiful 5-part series that will really open your eyes. If you haven't seen that, then you're going to get to see today a little bit of research that I took from that masterclass. This is a study that is basically showing us that exposure to traumatic events, even as children, or especially as children, heightens our health risk long afterwards. Harvard and many other research institutions have now been able to show that unresolved trauma, unprocessed emotions, whether it's physical or emotional, it carries super heavy consequences when it comes to our health. And you can see there, I highlighted the part that says research shows that these events can trigger emotional and physical reactions that make you more prone to a number of different health conditions, including heart attack, stroke, obesity, diabetes, cancer. And it can be something as simple as emotional stress over your job can lead you right into having type 2 diabetes. That actually happened to me, right? And so we have to become aware of these things so that we can, have that come to Jesus with ourselves, like I said earlier, and really decide what are we going to do with the one life experience, the one human experience that we're getting that is right now, right? Let's move on to the next one. Here's another study that was published from Harvard that talked about that adverse childhood experiences in particular are linked to chronic health conditions when people become older. And just because it says, as a child, and you might be thinking, well, I didn't have anything as a child. You have. You just may not realize it. You may also have it generational. It could have happened to your parents, your grandparents, up to 7 generations before you. And we all know that the generations before us went through famine and wars and all kinds of things. And so just to kind of point that out. And here's another one, a study looking at the offspring of Holocaust survivors, that it shows that the children of the mothers and fathers and even the grandparents and the great-grandparents who suffered through the Holocaust, ended up having 3 to 4 times the showings or incidences of anxiety and depression and other mental health issues. And we also have found other studies that also showed that these people also ended up having physical illnesses as well. So before we get into talking about ketamine, which is so exciting to get into the medicine part of it, right? I want to remind you one more time, the most powerful medicine, that it really is inside you. And this is something that I put together. This is a simple slide, and there's a lot of heart and a lot of conviction when I put this slide together for you. The ultimate root causes of disease that even can change your genetic expression comes down to the simplicity of thoughts, traumas, and toxins. Toxins, traumas, and thoughts. When we purify our bodies and our minds and our spirits of traumas, toxins, and thoughts, thoughts can be very toxic. We all know that. Raise your hand if you know what I'm talking about. Raise your hand, because a lot of us have very toxic thoughts, right? Very self-degrading about ourselves, and sometimes about the world around us too, if we've been hurt a lot, right? Purity of mind, body, and spirit, feeding the physical body, the emotional and the mental parts of us, and that is where the true healing happens. That's where you get the true and sustainable healing. How many of you, raise your hand, how many of you read my recent article in our Crusaders for Health newsletter, our recent article this month that I wrote about ketamine? Raise your hand. Shalon, let me know if anyone is raising their hand, because I can't see.
I can't see it either, I'm not gonna lie.
All right, it's not a problem. I can't see if you're raising your hands, but I wrote a beautiful article on the story of Sharon, who is an accomplished realtor in San Diego, who secretly suffered for 23 years with crippling panic attacks, anxiety, and depression that started when she was a young child. Sharon had mastered the art of coexisting with her panic attacks, anxiety, and depression. How many of you can relate to that? I did that. I think I started having trauma from birth. Actually, I did have trauma from birth, because I almost supposedly killed my mother when I was coming out of the birth canal, which I'm sure was just as traumatic for me as it was for her. And we learn how to cope with it, right? How many of you can raise your hand? Like we just learn how to cope. And that's what Sharon had done until one day life threw her a curveball with the tragic loss of her mother. And it was very tragic the way that her mother passed. And Sharon's battle with her anxiety and her depression and her, thoughts really intensified. And despite over a decade in and out of traditional talk therapy sessions and on and off various medications, she really struggled to find the ray of hope and strength that she so desperately needed. This is a picture of her symptom sheet, and I show it to you so that you can see how she was able to resolve and fix a lot of her symptomology and a lot of her conditions over the time that she was with us. She's still with us. 8 is a really high score. So we have our clients score these from 0 to 10, with 10 being the worst. 0 meaning no symptom. And a lot of these people, they live with it for so many years. They've been living with these different issues for so many years that they don't even have a baseline for what it feels like to feel good. And so when we go back and ask them later in interviews, we'll go back and ask them later, like, if you had to go back and fill this out again, would you have made these numbers higher? And they all say yes, like 99% of them do. But you can see that she struggled with a lot of symptoms. How many of you have 5 or more of these symptoms? Right? Yeah, a lot of people do. And it's common, and it is not normal. It's a big warning sign, guys. Big warning signs. So she came to us and we did what we always do. We started gathering data, because we know that all of those issues that she has can be caused by 50 different things. So how do we figure that out? We start doing assessment forms, really detailed forms that we have our clients fill out. We start doing testing. We do these hour to hour and a half calls to really dial in on their entire history. Like we do an entire timeline. Tell me about your birth. Did your mother ever tell you stories the way that my mom told me that it was a very traumatic birth, right? Tell me about all your stories growing up, right? Oh, well, we moved when I was 10. We moved out to a farm. They were spraying pesticides. Oh, okay. That's how your sister died of this cancer that's caused directly from that pesticide, right? And so we go in and we start doing this deep intakes to really understand everything about you from birth up until now, using lab data, genetic testing, like everything that we can do. And with Sharon, that's what we did. And as we gathered the data to understand if she would even be a good fit for our programs that we offer, we did indeed discover causes for her conditions that were rooted in many different root causes. She had environmental chemical toxins. She had toxic mold in her body. She had dysbiosis in her gut, which means that the bacteria in her gut were all out of whack. She had really high levels of H. pylori in her gut. It was like an overgrowth, like an infection, which is also known to be a common cause of panic attacks and anxiety. And she was really struggling. And we also were able to kind of extract out of her that she was still being triggered by her mother's death. So after 10 years of therapy, she was still crying when she was talking to us about how she felt, which told us she was still really deeply being triggered by her mother's death. So she still had not really been able to work through those heightened emotional experiences. So for her, nothing seemed to work. And that's when I asked Karen what she knew about working with ketamine, or in particular, if she had ever heard of ketamine-assisted neurological repatterning. Now, there is something out there that's being used right now in the medical world, and it's called ketamine-assisted therapy. What they do is extremely different and not nearly as comprehensive from my perspective as what we're doing. In fact, I've had the blessing and the honor of, we have some really big names in the health industry who work with cancer centers around the country, who have written books, who do a lot of work on the mindset and trauma and emotional side of healing, who are actually going through our programs right now. And I was on the call with one of them last week, and she said, I've never seen anything like this. If people will just take radical responsibility for their health and actually do the things that you're teaching them, because you're giving them the keys to drive the car, they will heal. And I said, yeah, I know they will. But to hear it from someone who's older than me, who's my elder, who's an expert, who's written books, who is a really, really big name in health and wellness, to hear it from somebody else was really humbling for me. And so, we asked Sharon what did she know about ketamine, and she said, well, I don't really know much about it. And so we taught her what it was, and I'm going to go on and I'm going to kind of teach you a little bit more about what that is. But in traditional ketamine assisted therapy, typically what that entails is you go into a sterile clinic. They might have a room. They're usually doing it separate, but we've actually seen some where they do like 2 or 3 people, which I think is interesting, all in one room. But they'll put them on a ketamine IV, and they might have someone just more kind of sort of babysitting them through their process. And then they send them home. These people are wide open neurologically, because that's what the ketamine does. I'm going to teach you about that in a minute. And there's no integration work. There's nothing afterwards. And so what we do is we take people through 6 months of pre and post integration work, very specifically showing them and helping them to repattern their neurological systems, both in their mind and in their body, to repattern their neurology for healing, so that they can get back into a state of calm, safety, joy, all of the things that they need to be able to heal and actually have a good quality of life while they're living this human experience. And so what does ketamine do? Well, ketamine started out as a anesthesia drug, and it's still used in anesthesia. I remember my father using it. I told you he was a physician. I remember him using it and having a conversation at the dinner table with my uncles, who are also all surgeons. And they were talking about how, I remember hearing this when I was a very young adult, about how the ketamine gets mixed with other anesthesia agents. And one of the things that ketamine does is it dissociates you from your body. So even if you're feeling pain during the surgery, because a lot of people do wake up during surgery, but they don't remember anything, it's because of the ketamine. They don't really remember what happened. And so ketamine started out being used in surgery with anesthesia. And over the years leading up to today, we've realized that ketamine can really be beneficial in helping people heal from heightened emotional events, or to break these cyclical patterns of thoughts that might be ruminating. How many of you have ever had that? I used to have that all the time. I couldn't get rid of it. Like they were like running in circles. I was never even in the present moment, didn't know I wasn't living in the present, because I was living in my head with the ruminating thoughts that were just circling over and over like a million times a day in my head. How many of you are familiar with that? You can't get out of it. The reason why you can't get out of it is because you've built such a big neurological pathway. It's like a highway. It's like a 5-lane highway. You can't get off of it. But the cool thing is that you can build new neurological pathways, and you can shut off those old highways that are no longer serving you anymore. And you can do it without ketamine. I did it without ketamine, and it took me years. It took a while, right? Because my highways, my pathways were so big that I had built. But with ketamine, it increases your neuroplasticity, meaning that it suddenly makes your brain and your nervous system able to make new neurological connections. So you can start creating new dendrites, new axons, new nerves. You can start creating new neurological pathways. Plant medicines can do that as well. Ayahuasca, MDMA, psilocybin, which are the magic mushrooms. So that's being used all over the world right now. And there's our research has popped back up, and the big major universities all over the world are doing research on it. But ketamine it also falls into this category. The difference is that it's not a natural plant doing that job for you. It's an actual synthetic substance that's made by a pharmaceutical company. The cool thing, though, is that in addition to making your brain highly neuroplastic, so that then you can go in and make all the new neurological connections, it helps you get to your core feelings, allowing your body and mind to feel and experience the whatever that maybe you couldn't fully experience because you didn't have the tools to learn how to do it before. And you can feel it without going fully into the experience and having your body go back where it believes that it's going through that trauma again. And with the right tools, with the right practitioners to help guide you pre and post ketamine experience, we can help you ensure that you continue to build on those new neurological connections that you made when you were in the ketamine process. Because I'm telling you right now, the ketamine alone is not going to transform your life. There is no pill out there. There is no gadget out there that can do that. But when you combine the powerful modalities, the powerful healing modalities of rewiring your neurology in your body and your brain, and then you add a substance that can make creating those new pathways easier, that's a winning combination. And so, as you can see with Sharon, she had massive transformation combining ketamine with the healing modalities that we do. Now, I added this in there because I just love this slide. The scientific world is really having to rethink its priorities as it discovers that invisible human emotions have profound, not just epigenetic effects, but biological effects, right? And there's research being done every single day on this. And so, how many of you How many of you have some powerful emotions? Good or bad, doesn't matter, but you can have some powerful emotions. Yeah. How many of you don't like feeling those emotions? How many of you don't like to feel them when they feel negative or bad? We don't want to feel them because it's scary, isn't it? Well, we don't have time to get into that in depth tonight, but I will say this. I wasn't planning on talking about this, but I'm going to go sideways for just a second. To the depth and to the intensity, so to the depth and intensity that you can feel what you know of as negative or scary emotions, takes you into freedom, where then you are allowed to feel the same depth and intensity of all of the fun, beautiful, happy, safe emotions in your human experience. Did you hear that? Raise your hand if you heard that. That's really, really important. I'm going to stop share so I can see the hands go up. This is a really important concept before we move forward, because everybody always wants to jump in. Oh, I want to do ketamine. I want to do ketamine. And I want to make sure that you understand really what that entails, right? We live in a world of duality. We live in a 3D world of duality. And many of us think it's a curse, but it really isn't. It depends on how we learn to master our emotions. And that doesn't mean controlling them and shutting them down, but how we learn to master our emotions and regulate our emotions, and how we learn to master our mind. That is just a tool. Your higher intelligence does not come from between the ears. This is so limited from your human experiences, the books you read, even if you got real qualified information, the schools you went to. This is so limited. This, your heart, you see me pointing to my heart, this knows all. This is infinite wisdom. Your direct connection to source. I'll say source because some of you may not call God God. You may call it something different depending on what part of the world that you're from. And it may seem like a curse, the suffering that we go through, but it's a blessing that we get to experience the things that we get to experience here. And we do live in a world of duality. And so for every quote unquote negative emotion, there's the polar opposite positive emotion. And to the depth and intensity that you'll allow yourself to feel the negative, dense, scary emotions will then finally give you the freedom to feel the good ones that you want to feel. That makes sense? And I just want to make sure that we talk about that when we hit this, because again, ketamine can be life-changing, but only if you're using it correctly. Only if you're using it correctly. All right, so let's talk a little bit about how Sharon transformed her body and her mind. It was through not just the experience of getting to use the ketamine. If she had gone to a clinic, taken the ketamine, or even gotten a prescription to take it at home, and she didn't understand anything about how to prep her mind and prep her body for it, how to create the experience that she desired, how to set the intentions, the journaling, the meditations, all the things, all the tools, and so many more tools that I'm not even mentioning here yet. If she hadn't have integrated and used all those tools, she would have never transformed her body and her mind and had life transformation. It was all about the integration of the new neurological connections that she was able to do for herself, and with us helping guide her and doing it with her. That is what transformed Sharon's life. Ketamine without the neurological repatterning and integration does not show the same profound outcomes as compared to ketamine combined with the right type of neurological repatterning pre and post integration, which is why our program where we partner with physicians so that our clients can do the ketamine, our program is a 6-month program, because you need the time to anchor in and grow those new baby neurological connections into 5-lane highways. That's where your reality starts to change. That's where your health completely transforms. So let's go a little bit deeper into how ketamine can assist a person in their healing transformation. So ketamine, as I mentioned before, ketamine prompts the formation of new neurological connections, making it easier to adapt positive cognitive and emotional patterns. When we change those patterns, the biology changes, the hormones change. Your body starts regenerating instead of degenerating. Does that make sense? Okay. Ketamine also has been shown to reverse neurological damage associated with stress, anxiety, and depression, which I think is pretty cool. However, if we don't get out of the broken loops, we're just going to precipitate more of that. So you might get a little bit of healing, but then you're going to, 2 steps forward, but that you're going to take 3 steps back without the integration. Ketamine also can restore normal brain connectivity at a macro level by improving global connectedness in key areas of the brain that are involved in mood and emotional regulation. And guys, I can't stress this enough, that our mood and our emotional regulation, where we spend most of our time in terms of our mood and our emotions, has a direct, powerful effect, either for the good or the bad, on your biology, which means your biochemistry, your neurochemistry, your hormones, how your cells can regenerate or degenerate into cancer, right? And so it's really, really important for us to pay attention and become aware. What is our mood most of the time? What are our emotions most of the time? And what are our thoughts most of the time? Step back out of your thoughts and be the observer. What do you look like on the inside? What's going on, right? Because if you're stuck in those negative patterns, that's affecting your chemistry and could be the very reason why you have a thyroid disorder or why you have, XYZ symptom, condition, or disease. Okay, so last thing on this slide of how ketamine can help a person in their healing transformation is it induces changes to brainwave activity, putting the mind in a state similar to that reached by highly experienced meditation practitioners. So when you want to increase neuroplasticity in your brain without any substance, it can be done. When you want to do that, you need to change your brainwave state. And I teach this to our mind, body, energy clients, to our clients going through pretty much any of our programs. Everybody gets an opportunity to learn this. And this is powerful. If you want to change your neurological connection and increase neuroplasticity without substance, you need to learn how to change your brainwave state. Now, most of us are functioning in beta or high beta brainwave state. If you want to start to create new neurological connections, you need to get yourself into an alpha or optimally a theta state, brainwaves. How do you do that? You do that through meditation. You do that through a combination of, you can do it meditation alone. You can do it with meditation combined with chanting, with sound, like you can do it with different sounds. You can do it with breath work. You can combine the meditation with the breath work. All of these things, especially when you start combining these tools and modalities together, you can literally take yourself into a different brainwave state. Once you've reached that brainwave state, that's when you can start changing all the neurological pathways. Now, some of you might be going, well, that's a lot of work. Yeah, it is at first. Anything new is always going to take work. Some of you may be saying to yourself, well, that's a lot of work. I'd rather just do the ketamine or do magic mushrooms or whatever. But let me tell you that if you don't learn how to master even some basic meditative states, doing, like guided meditations for 15 minutes a day, if you don't learn how to master that, then you're not learning how to master your mind. And if you don't learn how to master your mind, you're always going to be at the mercy of other people who are going to have to help you for the rest of your life. And you can get the keys and you can drive the car on your own, right? So you use people like us to help get you going. And we're right there to guide you, do it with you, do it sometimes in some cases for you, help you, help you, help you, make sure that you got it, make sure that you're able to drive the car without driving it off the road. And then one day we can let you go. We don't want you as a lifetime patient. We want you to learn this stuff. You can learn this stuff. And sometimes you need us for a little while, but you shouldn't need us forever. You shouldn't need any healthcare practitioner forever, right? Unless it's just to do your annual blood work and stuff, to high five you and tell you how great that you're doing once they've helped you get better. We have a lot of people that hang out with us and stick with us for their wellness and their optimization, but not because they're sick. All right. How can ketamine assist a person in their healing transformation? So we talked about this a little bit, but we're going to talk about this some more because it's worth talking about. Ketamine as a therapeutic treatment is so powerful because it changes what you're connected or attached to, as well as your vision or perception of who you are now and what your life is going to be for you in the future. It creates a sense of dissociation by allowing you to see your situation or your trauma from a distance, disentangled from your identity. So it's like you get to see it as if you were like a fly on the wall. And that is powerful. That's the key to your freedom. That is the key to you taking sovereignty back over your life, is when you can change your perspective. It's everything. We've all heard that, right? Changing perspective is everything. No, it is everything. In this life experience, learning how to take off the glasses, put on a different pair of glasses, and look from a different set of eyes is life transforming. And the ketamine can help you do that. The meditation can help you do that. The tools that we teach you can help you do that. The ketamine can make it a little bit easier in the beginning. It challenges your most ingrained beliefs. Some of you may not even know that you have been holding on to. And that is the secret sauce, because that is what ketamine is supposed to do. That's how ketamine works to facilitate healing and transformation. It allows you to be that fly on the wall and see your situation from a completely different point of view. So the key here is the carefully curated guidance with the ketamine to get the healing transformation. The neuroplasticity that you can gain from the ketamine, combined with the neurological repatterning and integration, is what leads to sustained healing, right? So this is what we have to do in order to really, really see the changes. And this is what's bringing transformation for people around the world. And we do have clients all over the world. So this is beautiful that people are finally able to have these experiences. Let's go to a little bit of a different topic here for a second. Your thoughts, beliefs, and emotional connection to chronic illness and brain-based conditions is much more correlated than many people realize. We now know that those who have experienced heightened emotional experiences in their lives literally have their brain and body neurologically rewire itself to keep them in a state of protection. But this state of protection that worked at that time to keep them surviving and thriving, not really maybe thriving, but surviving, is now oftentimes what ends up becoming our nemesis later when we don't know how to process it and get it out of our body. It literally gets stuck in your body. It changes your DNA. And then if you have children, you're passing that on to your kids. And so when people say, oh yeah, it's passed down in the DNA, it is, but you have 99% control over changing that. And the research is out now. So anybody who says it's in my genes has been passed down, that's why I've got it, that's why the kids have it, that's why the grandkids have it. It may have been passed down in the genes. However, you're not at the mercy of your genes. Your genes are at the mercy of your thoughts. You can heal through thought alone. And there's more and more and more research coming out about that. And we teach this in our programs. We teach this. And we go into a lot of depth with our 6-month transformation program that includes the ketamine. We go very, very deep into this type of work. I'm going to go ahead and skip that. Well, no, let's go ahead and read this, because I think hearing it in different ways many times, that's how we learn, right? So a research article in Science Daily came out that was talking about how you can program the information that your cells receive. So imagine this, your cells, let's say that you're sick. Let's say that an individual has a spot of cancer on their arm, right here, skin cancer. What's telling those cells what to do? The DNA that's in the cells is telling the cells what to do, but the cells are also getting information from here, from the hub of the central nervous system, right? The main hard drive. And so it's getting information from our body, and it also has its own information encoded in its DNA, and something went awry, and now the cells are not making healthy skin cells anymore. They're making the cancer skin cells. Did you know, and you do know this because I just said it in the last slide, your emotions, your thoughts, the energy, the vibe that you have, that sounded like such a hippie term back in the day, but now there's actually all the science behind that. Your vibe can program the information that your cells receive. Therefore, through your thought and emotion alone, think of prayer or meditation. When you combine the thought with the emotion, you can heal this. You can program what your cells receive. You can also decrease or increase your cells' receptors of positive input, depending on which thoughts that you nurture. And, I understand if you're saying, yeah, but I can't get out of the negative thoughts. I can't get out of it. I get it. I've been there. That happens. You built some massive neurological pathways that I like to call those 5-lane highways. It's hard to get out of those recurring thoughts. You get stuck on the hamster wheel of hell, right? But you can get out of it. And adding some ketamine to your neurological repatterning, that's where we believe it's at. That's where we're seeing massive transformation. A few testimonials from some of our clients. I won't stay here long. I'm going to send you a link on our program. We've already had a lot of people asking about it before we even did this talk tonight. So I'll be sending you the link and you'll see these testimonials in there. Feel free to go to our website as well, because our website up at the top, you can see the testimonials and you can hear from a lot of what our clients are saying about the type of work that we're doing, the incredible things that we're doing to help facilitate people's healing. Let me come down here and I'm going to show you this. So let's talk a little bit about our program and because a lot of people are asking, right? How many of you want to know? A lot of people are asking. So we have different programs. We have different levels of programs that we offer. And my goal over the years has been to figure out, let me stop this for just a second. It's been to figure out how can we reach the most people around the world and be able to offer them help at the most affordable price possible. And it's taken years for us to do that, years. And we have different levels of programs. And I'm going to call it our foundational level program, which is really essential. Everybody needs to learn the stuff that we're teaching in this program. If you do it, if you do the work, you will have transformation with or without ketamine, with or without one-on-one, guidance, with or without the deeper one-on-one work. You will have transformation. How do I know this? Go look at our testimonial site and you'll see. And so in addition to our, lowest cost programs that are really more self-led, which really at the end of the day, even if you're working one-on-one, you still have stuff that you have to do. You have to take radical responsibility in loving yourself and giving yourself the time that you need to master the tools of your healing, right? And with that said, we do have one-on-one care. So we have different levels of care that obviously cost different, right? And so this program that I'm getting ready to talk to you about, we only have a few that come available each year because we have a waiting list for this program. And right now we actually have it available, and we also have a special on the ketamine. If you qualify to do this program, you have to get qualified to do it. You can't just do it if you want to. We need to make sure that you're going to be a good fit and a good candidate for this type of a program. But if we take a look here, I'm going to just kind of basically go over who your team of practitioners are and what's included in this program. This is a 6-month mind, body, spirit transformation program. It's addressing every facet of your human condition, mind, body, spirit, and you get to work with a team of practitioners, and they all have backgrounds in different expertise so that they can work with you on your mind, body, and spirit, help to purify, help to clean out the stuff that's stuck inside of your physical body, in your mind, in your thoughts, and help you with some massive neurological repatterning. And so you'll get to work with Rosita, who you see pictured on the left. She is one of the top resonance repatterning practitioners in the country. She's absolutely amazing. And you get to do monthly appointments with her. You'll also get to do monthly one-on-one appointments with our amazing practitioner, Laura Bautista. She's absolutely amazing. And she comes, she's a rare, I call her our unicorn. She's similar to me in many ways in that she has been trained and certified in multiple modalities. And that's just oftentimes not possible for one practitioner to get to learn and master that many different tools. And she has done that. And she actually will be working with you doing somatic experiencing, somatic body work, somatic trauma work. These are tools that can be used where you can learn a structured modality, and she'll do it with you, right? And then after 6 months, you'll know enough to do it on your own, where you can use these tools to literally excise or get out the stuck trauma and the stuck emotions out of your body. You'll even be able to learn how to identify where they're stuck in your body. It's really interesting. Like, just a really great example would be like if someone has gone most of their life not speaking their truth, they don't speak up with how they really feel, they end up getting thyroid diseases, thyroid disorders. Right here in this area. Really interesting. It's fascinating work. And then you will get to do at your own pace, interactive and progressive recorded breathwork modules with our amazing breathwork practitioner, Stacy. She actually teaches and certifies other people around the world. So that's how good she is. And we've created some beautiful recordings so that you can do it at your own pace. We have some clients who want to go deeper into breath work, and I've got a lot of colleagues who can take our clients even deeper. Breath work is one of the most powerful modalities that I've ever experienced myself. It's absolutely powerful. And then you'll get to work one-on-one with a biological coach. What is a biological coach? A biological coach is the one who's going to look at all the tangible things. They're going to look at your labs with you. They're going to look at your thyroid labs and your hormone labs and your toxin labs. They're going to look at all those things, and they're going to help put together your protocols and your plan of action with your foods and your gut healing protocols and your hormone balancing protocols and your thyroid balancing protocols. Are going to help you with that. And that is going to be Anne. You'll absolutely love her. And so together you end up having a team of people all under one roof who are communicating and collaborating together for you, which is unheard of. That just doesn't happen. And I've been able to put that together. I've been blessed. God helped me put that together. Higher source helped me put that together. I couldn't have never done that on my own. And you have included labs. So depending, we have 3 different levels in this Mind, Body, Spirit Transformation Program. Depending on the levels, you'll have anywhere from, 5 to 11 different labs included, which is amazing savings, the way that we package this together for you. And you'll get your monthly bioenergetic scans. as well, which is looking at your bioenergetic frequency in your body, and it's looking for distortions. And so when you're going heavy into the trauma work and the emotional work and the mind healing work, you'll actually see really, really big changes on your bioenergetic scans from month to month. Our mind, body, spirit transformation program, and you must qualify to participate in this. It is normally not about $9,500 to about $12,500 for the 6-month program. And just for comparison, you could easily spend 15 grand for a 1-day session having a breakthrough with an expert, quote unquote. I've done that before. I've looked at everything out there so that I would know how to build the best program out there. And this is for practitioners working with you hand in hand, 6 months, intense deep work with labs included and discounts on supplements and other things. And it ranges, we're doing it on sale between $6,997 and $9,800. So we've got a range depending on what level. And if you qualify for our Mind, Body, Spirit Transformation Program, if you qualify to do this work with the ketamine, then we will refer you to our partner, our featured ketamine provider, Dr. Dave Calvo. We will give you a special link and you'll get a discount. I'll show you that in just a minute, and I'll talk to you about the ketamine pricing here in just a minute as well. Dr. Dave Calvo, I respect him and love him so much. I've known him for many years. I've gotten to know him and his wife, Diane, and we've done a lot of work together helping Parkinson's clients, helping a lot of people around the world. And he is passionate about regenerative medicine. He's passionate about anti-aging medicine, and he's passionate about helping me help people like you. And so I know Dave's probably not on the call tonight, but thank you, Dave, if you're listening. Thank you for being such a supporter of the work that we're doing. I am so honored. Dave, I love Dave for many reasons. He's an amazing physician. And I love that he really does take a holistic approach to healing by looking beyond just the beneficial physiological effects of ketamine. He also recognizes the important role of the work that we're doing, where we've combined expert healers and facilitators to help guide you in your healing before, during, and after your ketamine experiences for a better and more consistent positive outcome. And you might be wondering, how much is ketamine? Well, ketamine can be really expensive. And so what I'm showing you here is very affordable for ketamine. How many of you have done ketamine treatments? Raise your hand. I'm going to stop share for just a second. How many of you have done ketamine? Raise your hand. I'm going to lower your hands and raise them again. How many of you have done ketamine treatments? Raise your hand. Okay. So a few of you have tried it. How many of you, keep your hand up if you did ketamine treatment and it was the experience that I told you about, where you went into a clinic, kind of a sterile environment, they put you in a room, maybe somebody was there to babysit you, and then they sent you home. Leave your hand up. Yeah. That's unfortunate. How many of you spent more than $600 to get your ketamine treatments? How many of you spent more than $600? Yeah. Okay, you're keeping your hands up. I'm going to go up because I know how expensive ketamine is. How many of you spent over $1,000 on your ketamine treatments? Keep your hand up. So there were 3 people who originally did ketamine. They're raising their hands, and they spent over $1,000. How many of you spent over $1,200? Keep your hand up if it was over $1,200. Okay, so one person's hand came down. They spent over $1,000, but less than $1,200. Keep your hands up if you spent over $1,500 on your ketamine treatments. Over $1,500 on your ketamine treatments. Yeah. 2,000. How many of you spent over 2,000 on your ketamine treatments? The hands are still up, guys. And how many of you, these hands that are still up, how many of you got all the integration that I'm talking about? How many of you had a team of people working with you for pre and post integration, teaching you how to take advantage of those new neurological connections that the ketamine was providing you and helping you have your breakthroughs and making sure that they were there to see you through your breakthroughs. Right? Keep your hand raised. Well, that's pretty amazing. I still see the hands up. I'm very, very surprised. And there's nobody out there that I know of that's doing what we're doing. So you might not know how to unraise your hand. Not sure. I'm going to do something. I'm going to unraise it. If you got all that kind of help, raise your hand. I know you know how to raise your hand. So we know that there's 3 of you. You spent over $2,000. Did you also get all of the integration and practitioner like therapy type work? Amazing. 1 person did, 1 out of the 3. So that's amazing. It might be one of the people that's with us. I'm guessing that it is, not sure. So let's go back. We're just wrapping this up now. I'm going to come back in. And so let me show you what the pricing is here. Yes, Vindra, there can be some bad side effects of ketamine. There absolutely can. We're going to talk about that in just a second. So you will get, and you're only going to get a link to get these discounts with Dr. Calvo if you qualify for our program. We certainly don't want you doing this on your own because you could have the same bad experiences like what Vindra is saying, where you end up having dissociations and hallucinations and you're just like not yourself afterwards. You will get $150 off your first appointment, which is that first appointment that you'll need in order to get qualified. He will do his final qualifications to be able to prescribe that for you, as long as there's no contraindications or whatnot. And you'll get your first appointment for $350 instead of $500. And a lot of people were asking even before this call, well, how much is the ketamine? Because I spent a lot of money, or I've gotten quotes and it was a lot of money. You can get a nasal spray that will last you the way that we're going to teach you how to use it, it's going to last you more than 2 months. It's going to last you a long time. It's probably going to last you 4 months or even longer, probably 6 months actually. It's $375 for the spray, or you can get lozenges, 30 of them, and you will not be taking one every day. So it's not a 1 month supply, guys. That's not how it works. We're going to teach you how to take yourself on a ketamine journey, and it's not something that you're going to do every day. In fact, we may only recommend that you are doing it in the beginning. We may have you wait an entire month and do a lot of different modalities and pre-work with us. So we start teaching you how to master your mind and your breath and teaching you some different tools and modalities for breaking through trauma and emotions. And then when we know you're ready, then we will say, okay, you can do 1 spray in each nostril or do half of a lozenge or whatever, and this is what you're going to do on the day that you do it. And then we'll see you 2 days later for some post-integration. And so, this supply will last you months. It will last you months the way that we're going to be teaching you how to use it. We do have a waiting list for this program, and we actually have less than 30. When I did this last week, we had 30 spots available. We have about 25 spots right now available for this. They will go very, very fast. We've already filled up a whole nother list of people who are waiting for about a year to get into this program. You have to qualify. And so this program, again, does range between roughly $6,000 and $10,000. And if it's something that you're interested in and you want to do this with us, we're going to send you the link in the email follow-up that we always send you. We're going to send you a follow-up email. Tomorrow, we'll be able to send you a replay of this. You can watch it again. We'll be able to send you the slides so that you can have those, maybe. And we're going to send you the link. If you want to schedule a consultation with me, I am making it complimentary. It's a 20-minute consult. If you are interested in this type of level of program, you can get on a 20-minute call with me, and I can go over your case with you, and I can help you make that decision if I will take you into this program or not. How many of you learned something new tonight? How many of you learned something new tonight? I love to see that. If you follow me, I always ask that. Yeah. How many of you are interested in doing work like this, whether it's with or without the ketamine. With or without, you still get amazing results even without it. We've been doing this type of work without ketamine for years. We've recently partnered, and now we're making it more widely available for people to do it with the ketamine. So if you're interested in this type of work, please just check out your emails. Be sure that you join us. Check your emails rather, and you can check for the links. Join us for our next Inner Circles. You can go to team, if you could put it in the chat, you can go to mhhinnercircle.com. You can see what our upcoming topics are going to be about, and you can pre-register for those. And I'm going to open it up for a few questions. So I'm going to go into we're going to do a little bit of Q&A before we finish for the day. I'm going to jump in. If you have a question, guys, please put it in the Q&A, because if you put it in the chat, I can't see those.
Dr. V, there's one that came through the chat that's not in the Q&A box that I think it's an important one that we answer. A couple people were asking, is this program only for adults or do we work with teens? Do you want to talk about that?
Yes. So yeah, this is such a good one. The teens have to be wanting to do this work. As parents, and I've got a 30-year-old, I know what it's like to raise kids. We want to do the best for our children. And sometimes we see something and we know that it would change their life. They have to want it. And we do work with teens. It will likely not be under the influence of ketamine. We probably won't do that. And the kids don't need it. They're neuroplastic without ketamine. However, we can always discuss that. And really, it's up to Dr. Dave Calvo. He's the physician. He's the one prescribing that. We are doing all of the other important work. That's just helping make the neurons more easily movable. And, we can create new neurological connections with the ketamine easier than we can without. If the kids want to do this, get them on a call with Ann, get them on a call with Laura, get them on a call with me. We'll talk to them, but they have to want to do it. So that's how it works with the kids. I'm looking at Q&A. Vindra, so Vindra says, I've heard that there can be some bad side effects of ketamine infusion with severe dissociation, hallucinations that can last long after the infusion is done. Can any data or experience be shared on the prevalence and risk factors for that? Absolutely, yes. That's exactly what ketamine does. It causes dissociation. And this is where I believe that a lot of the clinics are going to fail. A lot of these ketamine clinics are going to fail. There's something called dosing. There's something called dosing. And you don't need to put somebody into a super deep and scary ketamine experience on their first experience with ketamine. It's not necessary. In fact, it's not necessary to go into a deep experience anyways. You don't have to do that. Lighter doses of ketamine can do the job. There may be an occasion after you've done it a few times where together, as we work with you, we might, discuss you doing a heavier dose. But even so, these doses that are in the nasal spray and in the lozenges are small doses compared to the amount of ketamine that some of these clinics are putting into people through these IVs. So yes, I have had experience with that, with clients who have gone to ketamine clinics, have been further traumatized, and then came to us so that we could fix that work, help them fix that. And I have done heavier doses of ketamine so that I can understand what that experience is. And I've had a lot of training and I've done a lot of the work. I've done a lot of the trauma work. I'm still doing it. It's a journey for all of us. Anybody who says they've completely mastered it, I would raise an eyebrow to. But I've done it so that I could have the experience, and it can be very dissociating, but that's exactly what it's supposed to do. And we don't need to do those heavy doses from my perspective. Heidi Marie Huber, I hope I said your name right. Have you found that neurological repatterning is the best modality to combine with psychedelic medicine and trauma integration? Well, guess what? It is a modality, but we don't use just one. So I can't tell you if it's the best and the only modality, because when our clients work with us, they get an entire package of tools and modalities that we use, from breath work to meditations to neurological repatterning to NLP work to hypnosis if they want it, somatic experiencing, I mean, light, color, sound therapy. I mean, we go on and on and on. That's what makes our program unlike anything else that's out there. Anonymous says, can ketamine therapy help people with mild asymmetric Alzheimer's? You know what? I'm not 100% sure, but I can tell you this. When they're saying that studies are coming out showing that it's helping to repair some damage because it can help like new neurons grow, I would think that there could be some possibilities there. But I think what's even more important is that we do some pre-work to really try to figure out what's causing the Alzheimer's to begin with, right? Do we have a combination of heavy metals and chemical toxins and mold and gut issues and wheat issues? You know, wheat can lead to massive brain degeneration. And so, you know, and that combined with generational trauma or trauma in this lifetime, what do we have going on? We still, if we don't do that, there's no amount of stem cell, there's no amount of ketamine, there's no amount of miracle grow that's going to make the brain grow and heal itself. If you don't first figure out what caused it to get sick in the first place, we have to identify and remove all of those barriers to healing. And then that's when we can get the biggest benefit out of like stem cells and peptides and ketamine and or microdosing psilocybin, which can help grow new dendrites, you know, all of those things. Diane, I hope that I've explained the treatment by now. Okay. I think I know what you're asking. You just asked this 10 minutes ago. Ketamine treatment. So you'll have an appointment with the doctor. Sorry, guys, the light's coming in. You'll have an appointment with your, hold on just a second. Can't do that. Okay, I'm back. You'll have an appointment with your physician, and he will make the final determination if he feels that there's not going to be a contraindication, that it's going to be okay, and then he'll be like, okay, I'm going to prescribe this to you. And so let's say that you get the nasal spray. When it's finally time for you to have your first ketamine experience, imagine it. How many of you have ever had a Xanax? How many of you have ever had a Xanax or a couple glasses of alcohol, right? And then you start feeling it and your body just kind of goes into this relaxation mode. Okay. That's the best way I can describe it, although it's very different from alcohol or Xanax, right? But you will lay down. So on the day that you're going to do your treatment, and we're going to teach you all of this integration stuff that's critical for the change. You can't just do it and think that you're going to like go about your day doing laundry or whatever. Like that is not how it works. So we're going to teach you, we're going to spend at least 1 month working with you in advance. And then on the day that you do it, you're going to create your space. Creating your space is super important, like your favorite soft blankets, right? Your favorite LED candles, your favorite meditations, your guided meditations, which Diane, as you know, we can give you some, right? We can actually make them for you, custom make them for you. And, we want you to do this on a day where you feel calm. You've been doing the work, you feel calm, you're excited about it, and you have time to do nothing else that day. You've created space for yourself the entire day. And you'll, put your music on, your meditation, whatever. And then you'll lay down on the couch or wherever you've set yourself up on your bed, and you'll do a couple of sprays and you'll lay down. We'll have you go into your guided meditation. And then you'll kind of feel like you're out there. I don't know how else to explain it. You'll kind of feel like you're out there and you'll be super relaxed with a lighter dose So if you have to get up and go to the bathroom, you can get up and go to the bathroom, right? You're not going to be so far into that psychedelic space that you can't get up and move. When you go to a ketamine clinic, they will take you that deep. You don't even know where your body is, right? That's not necessary. In the majority of cases, it's not, right? And if we ever want to explore that with a client, we will be heavily guiding you with the right people and all of that, right? But that's rarely ever needed. And we would want to have facilitators right there with you when you go into an experience like that. But you'll end up just laying on the bed and you'll relax and you'll do the breath work, you'll do your meditation. And the ketamine lasts, you'll be done with it inside of an hour. So you'll typically start feeling this when you do it as a nasal spray. You'll typically start feeling it within 10 minutes and you'll be out of it by 45, 50 minutes. You'll be out of it. So it's a short journey. Unlike if you do psychedelic plant medicines, it can be anywhere from a 6-hour journey to a 12-hour journey for some of these, psychedelic plant medicines like ayahuasca or mushrooms or whatever. It's a much longer journey. This is kind of a short, you're like in and out within an hour. So that's kind of how that works, Diane. Darius, the nose spray, is it Spravato? Not sure what you mean. So Dr. Calvo actually has it custom formulated. And we would be working together. Some of your formulations may be a lighter dose than others, right? Because you can make it fairly strong. It's not as strong as an IV, but you can make it fairly strong in a nasal spray or lozenge. And again, I believe that less is more. I've done a lot of this type of work with other professionals around the country and shamans around the world, and I've done a lot of this work. And I can tell you that on 99% of the cases, less is more. That's where you get your healing transformation. Why? Because the healing doesn't come from that. The healing comes from within you. That's just helping you to connect to your higher self. It's helping you to connect to parts of you that have been fragmented because of heightened events in your life. And it's defragmenting the hard drive. It's reintegrating your mind, body, and spirit together so that you can have that healing, right? And so anyways, that's it. Do we have any last questions? Anything else, guys? KANR stands for Ketamine Assisted Neurological Repatterning. Yes, I like Super Brain book, Elena. Elena, I love you. I love that you come to these. I love it. I'm going to be in Washington this summer, so I want to hook up with you. I am going to be there visiting the kids. Helen says, I spent 4 years attempting to meditate and failing. My time with MHH has given me a new emotional language and has helped me to meditate. And you, MHH, Modern Holistic Health, were with me through the entire process. You helped me when I went into freeze mode, when I didn't feel safe enough to just close my eyes and relax into meditation. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing that. For those of you who heard that, I hope that was inspiring for you. We are here for you. Our mission and our purpose here in this lifetime, all of us, is to help facilitate your healing. I heal, you heal, we all heal together. And the reason that we're here is to be a part of your healing journey. If you want us to help you, we're always here to help you. Thank you so much for joining us. And I look forward to seeing you at our next Inner Circle Live in 2 weeks. Talk to you soon. Bye, everyone.